Like, when your wife says, "How do I look, honey?" Now, what do you say?
You're setting me up.
Or do I look fat in this?
You call my men's group support system.
Yeah, right. Or, you know, how often do you beat your wife? You know, when did you stop beating your wife, Scott? You know, that's the question. And so, when you get those questions, so we need to think through those things. If I'm going to tell these guys, you know, I don't want you ever lying, I got to train them how not to lie. Right? So what I tell them, okay, guys, now what you say when you're trying to be upfront and you're speaking criticisms, you got to be tactful, but if you don't want to lie, you ask questions. So if this young man would say, you got to understand, these young men would come in the program, they hated having their weekend taken away. They would come with us from Friday until Sunday. They would spend the whole weekend with us, and they hated being there. So if they did something stupid, they would get what we call an unsatisfactory, which means they had to make that weekend up. And they didn't complete that weekend, but they had to make it up. And they didn't like that at all, because they didn't want any extra weekends. But they would figure, well, who gives a flip? I'm on this weekend, so I'll just raise hell. I don't care. You already failed me, and I'm going to have to come back the other one. So we had a fear tactic that you could get another unsatisfactory and have 2 weekends to make up. But I wanted to be more on the positive side, and I wanted to just say, well, you ask them a question, because they'll ask you, did I get an unsatisfactory for the weekend? Say, if you just throw back the questions, do you think you deserve them? No, I didn't have to lie to them. And 99% of the time, it would take them off track. And they would just shut up, because they knew they deserved them. We didn't have to lie to them and worry about them flipping out, or we have to restrain them, or whatever. I didn't have to lie to them, because I simply asked the question. I mean, so the wife question might be, well, how do I look, honey? You know, she might, you know, sense your game anyhow if she said that, but you might want to say, well, I don't know what a tactful question would be. You have to customize that. But a question might be, well,
what do you think?
Yeah, what do you like? What do you know, is that your favorite color?
What are you trying to accomplish here?
What part are you talking about?
Really, you just can't lie and be done with it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, let's put it this way. When we're speaking criticisms, there's tactfulness, and I mean the lies catch up with us. You know, if you said something that was a lie, it'll catch up with you. You know, the Bible talks about do not flatter another person. And flattery is just a fancy way of lying to them, you know, and misleading them into thinking something's the way it isn't. And so, I know there are in a pinch situations, but the way out of that is really to ask a question. So if somebody's asking you something to point blank them, you may want to ask questions first, and you need questions for clarity in a lot of instances. You know, the wife situation, God bless you, you have to deal with it, that's not my issue. You know, but that's much more difficult than if I'm going to Wes and I have to tell him something, and he asks me some questions, but I don't want to lie to him, you know, and I might hurt his feelings, and I might do something that isn't kosher. Like I've learned, you know, when I would head the singles group, I've learned that I don't want to care anymore if I see this person heading down the tracks and they think the light is at the end of the tunnel and it's a train coming at them. I don't care if they're not my friend anymore, because usually they get connected with this person they think they're supposed to be marrying, and they won't be my friend anymore anyhow, because their life will just be a total wreck and they'll be out of my life anyhow. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The worst that could happen is they listen to me and get their life off of that stupid track of marrying somebody that they should never have been involved with in the first place. So that one's point blank. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to them. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to care at the expense of somebody getting mad at me. If one of you guys are saying, I'm butting into your lives, you don't need to be in my life, and you're mad at me, and you hate my guts, if I see this train coming at you, and I don't do something to push you out of the way, shame on me.
You know, on that thought, it's funny, you said you were in Applebee's, you know,
yeah.
And I was on a road trip the other day, and the same thing is at Applebee's, and I'm sitting there, you know, eating something, there was a man sitting on the corner talking to this guy from Ireland, and we started talking about, just like, you know, it's funny, we'll talk about somebody you don't know from Adam on the corner of a bar, and we were two other guys come up, and I said, I introduced, this is my new friend, you know, and they said, how would you define friend? So we got into this bizarre conversation about what is a real friend, and will trust to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and be willing to accept the feedback. If you find that person, you better freaking hold on, because there aren't many of them. There aren't. If you find them, do not let that person go.
Right.
And yeah, it's everything. Anything worth having it has to be work.
Yep.
And it was his answer was, if you're my cell phone, you're my friend. I said, oh boy. Yeah, there you go. There can we be a little more generic than that.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you say, for example, if you get back to the white thing, I mean, if there's this dress that you absolutely hate the way it looks on her, if you like the color, the color's a nice color. I mean, again, I'm pulling straws here, but I mean, there's something that you can say.
Well, I think I don't know. Well, it's easy for us to all laugh about it because we all go through it. It's so much bigger than this 2-minute conversation.
Right.
But the ability to say to your wife, I love you. I love you. Look at me. I love you. And I'm looking forward to a great night. I personally don't like it. I don't like it. It is not, it should be, you should be able to do that. Can we? Not so much. But you should be able to. And that should be something to work for. Say, if I answer you honestly, are you still going to be able to have fun with me tonight? Are we going to be really having a good time? Do you have a backup dress? How's this going to go? Because I'm going to bring it real, because I'm in men's group.
Or you don't care, because you're going to wear it whether I like it or not, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and that's he's got that rapport with Jill, and he can say that, or at least he thinks he can at this point in time.
And it's so much bigger. 15 years ago, we were going through a time where it's just a rough time, and I bought her, I'm not making this up, 6 dresses. I went to 3 stores and bought 2 dresses in each store because I wanted to go to this gala, and I wanted us to have a great time, and then she was really busy, and she's always whining that she doesn't have something really nice to wear. I spent hours with some really hot chicks. Look at that. This is my
you
wife.
didn't include that in the conversation, did you?
My wife is
I don't think she would have understood that.
5'10", here's how much she weighs, this is how old she is, this is her hair color. And here's what she didn't want to go. I could have brought a truck full of dresses. She wasn't going. Does it still bother me? Do you think? But I got it out. Yeah, so I said, you return them home. I'm not trying that. So, and I could have gotten 30 days when I came back how to go. I said, you want the truth? She didn't go. You got all those dresses. And she didn't go. She didn't go. And they were like, your wife's freaking crazy. I said, I'm with you on that one. Still working through it.
Yeah.
I was looking good.
Yeah. All right. Then he goes, now we're running a little short, but I do want to do a survey for us. And just get your feedback. Everybody got a pencil?
We're fast.
Yeah. So the last session 5 talks about honor the city, humiliating our dealings with others, hope for anyone. I believe in miracles. My uncle Jack, who is 64 years old, quit drinking. Full-blown alcoholic, quit drinking a couple months ago. There was a couple of things leading up to that, but I believe in miracles. Okay? I believe in miracles. If Uncle Jack has quit drinking, I believe in miracles.
And can I email you my answers so I can actually think about them?
Yeah, sure.
What's your email?
DJ, M as in mother, SKI @live.com. And then sessions.
DJM SKI
Right. My email has been the same, the prefix, forever. It's the live.com. It's changed. No Verizon, no Comcast, live.com. All right, then session 6 is about worldviews. Now, if you guys haven't studied at all or read all about worldviews, worldviews are very important because it's how you live your life. Whether you think you've got a worldview or not, you live your life according to your worldview. Now, hopefully you have a Christian worldview, but there's all kinds of little things that sneak in there. Like existentialism worldview would be, The buck stops here. I create my whole scenario. It doesn't have anything to do with my past. My life is mine. I run it. That's it. Okay? No God involved. I'm the man. If you look at postmodernism, postmodernism is the era that we are supposedly in at this time, which is closely associated with scientific naturalism. Scientific naturalism is empirical data is of the utmost importance. That's what matters. What I can touch and feel and see in this world, prove it to me. And evolution, we are evolving, we are becoming better creatures, and that's pretty much it with scientific naturalism. But postmodernism throws in a social component on top of that. It pretty much believes that core, but then it says we are dictated by our social norms. So whatever social norm you're in this church and new community, that defines your truth, because you're all in this group here. But that has nothing to do with the inner city truth. The inner city truth is different than the truth here. You guys are all living this fantasy world out here, and it's just all, peachy and everything. In the inner city's reality, there's a whole different truth over there. So they don't believe in absolute truth. They believe in relative truth. So wherever you are in society, what's good for me isn't necessarily good for you, and that's prevalent in our society now. And then there's Christianity. God is good. We empty ourselves and fill Him with us, like the New Age religions, the Hinduism and the other religions that have, they have some good and evil, but there's a whole slew of differences there. So, for example, if you ask anybody and you're talking to them, there's three things that basically you can reduce the argument to, or the discussion with, when you're defining Christianity. They have problems with origins. They don't define origins the way we do. They have problems with the divine inspiration of the gospel, and they have problems with Jesus. So any one of those three, you can just bring the discussion to there, and you'll find out the core of their issue with Christianity. Because if you talk about all this other stuff, you'll be beating around the bush forever, and you'll never get to the crux of the matter. So worldview is very important, and Ravi Zacharias is probably the most prominent guy teaching on worldview, and just excellent arguments of, and when I mean arguments, he's not shouting down anybody. This guy is invited before the United Nations to talk. He's invited to Muslim countries to talk. So he's very tactful, and they know where he's coming from. So if you talk about, well, I don't want to, offend, or I don't want to say this and that in this environment, it might not be appropriate. Ravi Zacharias goes all over the world and speaks of his Christianity, but he knows how to do it in a tactful way. So if you haven't ever listened to him,